Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a video, and today we're going to be checking out the RaceDayQuads Mach 2, which is their newest video transmitter. So let's just open up the package and see what you get here. So you just get a little user manual, which is quite nice. Just a quick guide, just shows you the pinouts and a little description, everything obviously well written in English. Just a little business card. We have the video transmitter itself, which as you can see here is pretty interesting. It does have the MMCX connector. It comes with this little pigtail here. We have a built-in microphone here, so it's going to be really nice that you don't have to wire anything up from the camera or anything external. It's going to be built in and transmit right away. You have your little display screen, which is nice. It'll read off the frequency that you're on. And then on the bottom here, we do have the direct solder tabs. There is no connector on here. So for some people that's going to be an advantage, some people it's going to be a disadvantage. It really depends on how you build. For me, it's probably going to be nice. I don't really swap them out that often, but overall I think that's definitely a good feature. And over here we have the button, nice and big, easy to press. For the little MMCX connector included, obviously it goes to an SMA, which comes with its own little nut and washer there. The cable itself is about 85 millimeters long, and it is straight. It's not a right angle one. It really depends, again, on how you build, but this might be an issue, if you have to put it back. But if you don't have a lot of room and you need to stick this out the back here, you don't really want to be bending it like this too much. You're going to get some video loss. It won't be huge, but it would be nice if you get a second right angle option. But a straight connector is probably going to fit more people overall. And of course, you also get this little power cable that there's no connector on this side, obviously, because it's going to be wiring it up. So that just connects there, and then you have this for your power. This does take 7 to 24 volts, so that's going to take your full VBAT in. It does have a 5-volt out for your camera, and this does have smart audio control, so this thing is really feature-packed, so it's looking like it's going to be a great VTX, and it comes in at about $28. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this also is available in a UFL option. You get to choose when you buy it if you're interested in that. However, the MMCX is highly superior in my opinion. It's a lot more sturdy of a connector, and it has a lot more mating cycles than UFL, which is something you typically see on a unify. And just real quick, this is fully US legal. The bands that it, the frequencies that it transmits, it does not transmit on E4, E7, and E8, it looks like, which is 5645, 5925, and 5945. So just be aware of that. For some multi-GP races, you do need to use E4. However, they are advising race coordinators to use the new frequency list that does not include those. And let's just get a weight on this guy. And of course, it is going to be a little bit heavier because it does have a heat sink on the back, but that's probably going to make it tolerate the heat a lot better. So that with the cable is 10.3 grams, and then just for reference, a Unify is 7 grams. So it's a little bit heavier because of the heat sink, but not a big deal. So just a quick bench overview. Let me get this installed on a quad and we'll test it out. Okay, so here we are back, and I have the Mach 2 installed into a floss here, and I just sort of stuck it on top of the RunCam Split 2, which I'm also testing in this quad at the same time here. I had to increase the stack height to fit it in there, but I got it no problems. The direct solder pads are actually quite convenient. I just put on the right length of wires there and just ran that. For the power of the VTX, I just ran it straight down to VBAT onto the battery pads like is suggested. Since it does up to 24 volts, it's just fine for 4S and 5S and maybe even 6S. I don't know if I'd run enough VBAT on 6S, but it should still work. And then I ran the video over here to the split video because that's where the camera output is. I did not run the smart audio wire just because this flight control, I don't have it set up and I didn't have enough time to get that ready, but it does have smart audio control if you want to change it through your OSD. And I don't have an OSD on here, so it wouldn't do me much good unless I had a Lua script. And then for the 5 volts coming out of here, I ran that to power the split. And now the split is supposed to draw 650 milliamps, so I'm not sure if that's going to be too much for the regulator on here, but we'll see. But other than that, I just sort of stuck it on there and then mounted the antenna. The MMCX comes down and just sort of bent it around up into this little mounting place for the Foxeer Pagoda Pro antenna. I know that's a terrible spot and that would get smashed off in a crash, but this is just for quick testing. It's not really a big deal, but it definitely is worth noting that having a straight MMCX like that for some builds is going to present a problem. So let's take it out and see how this little VTX performs. Okay, so here we have the Mach 2, and this is on 200 milliwatts. And if you look at the video, it's very dark out with the split here, and it's, you know, it's the snow, so it's way underexposed here. But there is a little bit of video noise. If you look there in the sky, you can sort of see it shimmering just a little bit. I was powering the split from the 5 volts and the Mach 2 from VBAT, but definitely not enough noise to, I would say, be concerned about. And you can see there's a little bit of shimmering as well from the split CMOS camera, so that could be part of it as well, amplifying that. Other than that, it's working just fine here, close range and at 200 milliwatts. And then here I'm just taking out a little bit further to test the range a little bit. Obviously not going super far here. I don't want to have to recover my quad in the snow, but just fine here. And I'm also behind a set of trees when I'm over here, so the video is doing just fine on 200 milliwatts. Alright, so here we are back after that testing, and I'm definitely not disappointed by this VTX. It works just fine, just as advertised, and I have not had any issues with it so far, especially since, and like I mentioned, I am running the split 2 off of the 5 volt line here, so I thought there might be an issue with overheating. So I set the Mach 2 to 800 milliwatts, as well as I had the split 2 recording, and just let it sit there for 3 minutes, and it did absolutely fine. It didn't even get hot to the touch. And then I flew for another 3 minutes, no problems there on 800 milliwatts and recording with the split 2. So I'm not sure I would recommend running the split 2 off of this, because it is spec'd higher than the BEC on here is. I think the regulator on the Mach 2 is 300 milliamps. However, it worked just fine for me running on the 5 volt. In terms of the menu system to get through, here's just the little LED screen, and over here is the button. Hopefully you can see that's just poking out the side. Let me plug this guy in so I can show you that. And I'm right here. So you can see A2 4, so that means I'm on A2, and then 4 is the power level, so 4 is 800 milliwatts, and it's very easy to change. Just have to poke the little button there, and then you can see it's changing through 5, 6, 7, 8. Go back to 2 there. And then you give it a longer press, 2-second press to change the band. And then you give it a 4-second press to enter the power menu to cycle through 25, 200, 500, and 800 milliwatts. So that's really nice there. And of course, there is smart audio control, but I just don't have it hooked up on here since I don't have an OSD. Now, I know when testing a VTX, it's kind of subjective. Really, they pretty much all perform similarly in terms of signal strength. I was using a Foxeer Pagoda Pro on the transmitting side, and on the receiving, I had a Emax Pagoda, as well as a Immersion 8 dBi patch, and I had that on a Clearview, so that you might think that's kind of cheating. However, if I don't use a Clearview to record DVR, it's got a lot of white glitches and flashes in it. But the overall signal I'm seeing in my goggles is perfectly clear, so I'm not sure why it does that, but that's why I use a Clearview every time I need to record DVR, as it just shows up fine there. Now, something that I was really pleasantly surprised with was actually the onboard microphone on here. Hopefully you can see it is covered by the heat shrink there. I think if this was exposed, you have a ton of wind noise, but the actual sound quality coming off of that is really surprisingly nice. And since it's built right into the VTX and not the camera or somewhere external, it just gets straight transmitted, and my Aomway goggles do receive that and record it in the DVR. So there's no extra work, it's just sort of there. And when listening to DVR, if you have a decent mic to go with it, a decent audio file that syncs up with it, it just really makes the DVR a lot more interesting to watch if you haven't added music or anything to it. And the quality of the mic sound was really nice overall. There was not a lot of wind noise, and it was really clean, and just the no hassle of having to set it up. It just automatically comes out. It's really nice, so I definitely do like having a mic on the VTX itself. So yeah, it's going to be the end of the review for the RaceDayQuads Mach 2. I'm really liking this guy so far. Pretty small form factor, a little bit bigger than Unify, but that's because of the extra heatsink on there. However, running 800 milliwatts, it had absolutely no problem dissipating the heat, so that's really good. Has an onboard microphone, a nice LED setup, has smart audio, does 4 different power levels, and is under 30 bucks. So there's not really too much to complain about here, as well as it does come in a UFL or MMCX connection. You get to choose what you want. If you're choosing the MMCX, I would be aware and think about how you're going to mount it in your build, because some builds will favor a straight connector versus a right angle one. It comes with a straight one, so if you need a right angle one, you'll have to purchase that separately. Although there's becoming increasingly more and more MMCX connections, as well as direct to antenna like an Axie out there. So just make sure you understand which one your build is going to need, and you will be fine. So yeah, that was the end of the video. There will be a link down in the description below to the Mach 2. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.